Host-Parasite Relationship. At the end of the lecture, students should be able to define terminologies associated with host-parasite relationship, explain the pathogenesis of parasitic infection, describe how parasitic diseases can be spread, and finally explain the preventive measures to control the spread of the disease. Let's look at some terminologies. A host is said to be susceptible to parasites if it cannot eliminate the parasite before they start to become established. A host is said to be resistant if it can prevent the establishment of the parasite. On the other hand, a parasite is said to be infective if it is able to become established in a host, or non-infective if it is not. Disease is often referred to as a disorder of structure or function in human, animal, or plant that may produce specific signs or symptoms, or that affects a specific location and is not simply a direct result of physical injury. Diseases can be infectious diseases or non-infectious diseases. Infectious diseases are caused by infectious agents such as protozoan and helminths. What it means is that infectious diseases can be spread from one person to another. Non-infectious diseases are diseases that cannot spread from one host to another and is usually caused by genetics, environmental factors, or deficiencies in nutrition. In this course, we will focus on infectious diseases, especially those that are caused by parasitic infections or infestations. Pathogenesis is defined as the manner of development of a disease. Some parasitic infections can be subtle, that the host may not show any signs and symptoms of being infected, meaning that the host doesn't even know that it is infected with a parasite, while other parasitic infections can be strikingly obvious, which may be the result of trauma, nutritional robbing, toxin production by the parasites, or the immune or inflammatory responses of the host against the parasite. Let's look at trauma. Physical trauma is the destruction of cells, tissues, or organs by mechanical or chemical means. In the case of hookworm infection, as an example, the Ascaris worm will penetrate a lung capillary to enter an airspace, which causes damage to the blood vessels and cause hemorrhage. This may be complicated by possible infection by bacteria that may enter through inhaled air as we breathe. Parasites or not, they are just living organisms, and as living organisms, they need nutrition to survive. When they start to establish themselves in your body, that nutrition comes from you. Harmful organisms feed off your food and steal your nutrients. Some parasites are known to be able to secrete toxins, generating toxic buildup, and causes stress to your immune system. When the immune system is stressed over a long period of time, it starts to weaken and the body becomes susceptible to infections of other kinds. In addition, our bodies are also forced to deal with these toxins by increasing the process of detoxification. Besides toxin, adverse effect of the immune system can also affect the host negatively. Some immunological responses towards parasitic infection can cause detrimental effect to the host. This includes tissue damages, for example in the case of nephrotic syndrome in Plasmodium infection, or allergic reactions, as well as inflammation. Chagas disease is a direct effect of inflammation caused by Trypanosoma cruzi infection. Let's look at how parasitic diseases can be transmitted. First, through contaminated water or food. For example, consumption of Giardia contaminated water may result in an individual contracting Giardia infection. Or another example, an individual who consumes raw or undercooked fish containing infective larvae of anisakis may get a disease what we call anisakiasis. Humans may also contribute to the spread of diseases through two ways. One, by being a reservoir, i.e. infected patient. They may spread the infective form of the parasites via endogenous or exogenous. Endogenous means self-infection. You infect yourself with the parasite. And exogenous is person-to-person infection. Or human can also be the carrier, a person who carries the parasite without knowing that he is infected with the parasite itself. Animals can also play a role in the spread of parasitic diseases through many ways, such as through their saliva, feces, and etc. For example, cats can spread toxoplasma to susceptible pregnant mothers, which may result in congenital diseases to the child. Vectors, such as arthropods, can also spread parasitic diseases by one of three ways: mechanically, by non-blood-sucking insects, for example houseflies, transmitting protozoal cysts or helminths ova as they land on your food, or biologically, by blood-sucking insects, for example mosquito, biting and spreading plasmodium, causing malaria, or third, by ingestion of insects, for example accidental ingestion of arthropods carrying cysticercoids of Hymenopus nana. Soil, being the reservoir of many microbes inclusive parasites, may contribute to the spread of parasitic diseases in a population. For example, if a person walks around barefooted on soil harboring the chico fleas, that individual may get chiggers. Besides that, blood transfusion and contaminated medical apparatus can also spread parasitic diseases. Parasites can also be transmitted from mother to child across the placenta, or what we call transplacentally. For example, in the case of toxoplasma and trypanosomiasis. Let's look at how parasites can affect their host. Parasitic infection can cause several problems to the host, which includes anemia, which is loss of blood, especially by blood-sucking parasites like ancylostoma. It can also cause loss of weight due to nutritional robbing. Parasites can also affect the host in a mechanical manner, such as intestinal obstruction, for example in the case of heavy infestation of Taenia and Ascaris, intestinal perforation, as in the case of Ascariasis and Taeniasis, as well as accumulation of water-filled cysts, or what we call hydatids, due to echinococcosis. Parasites can also cause poisoning due to the toxins that they produce, as well as allergic reactions, for example urticaria. Besides that, parasites can cause localized irritation like gastrointestinal discomfort, itchiness, and it can also contribute to secondary bacterial infection. Finally, let's look at some control measures to control the spread of parasitic infections. First, by controlling the host. This will help to reduce the spread of the disease. Personal hygiene as well as general hygiene will also help in the control of the spread of diseases. For example, clean environment will control mosquito population, thus control the spread of malaria.